Hey everybody, I'm Sierra.
And I'm Ben.
And welcome back to another episode of The Unsolved Couple, where every week Ben and I break down one of your original gateway drugs into true crime.
Unsolved mysteries.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie artichoke.
There you go.
There you go. All right, we're here. We're in it, just like we are week after week, showing up in your ear holes.
Ear holes.
What else do ear canals?
Yep.
Is that what they're called? What's the medical term for an ear canal?
I don't
An earchitis.
I don't know what that is.
I just made that word up.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you know you have crystals inside your ear?
I do. I went to the doctor about it.
And that's like one of the reasons people get vertigo?
Yeah. That's what he diagnosed me with. I didn't have vertigo, but I was having these spells.
Oh, that's right. I was like, this was a couple years ago. You were having these weird dizzy spells.
I was having these weird, it was not complete, whatever vertigo is. I don't know. But I was having these weird spells.
Like time was moving slow. And like, I remember you being like, it's hard to explain.
It was really hard to explain. And then when you explain it, you just sound like you're going crazy. And in the
1800s, you would have ended up in an asylum.
Well, I was having them for like a year, but I didn't tell a soul because I didn't know like how to explain it.
And this is why women live longer than men.
And so I had a spell I was having, and they were, once every couple months. And then I went a while without any, but it was to the point where I would turn my head and it just felt like it was taking too long to process what I was seeing. I felt like a lag in my ability to see what...
A glitch in the matrix?
Yeah, kind of. Here's the thing, I still can't explain it, but I went to the doctor and that's what he diagnosed. He said, listen, you have crystals in your ears, these things, and sometimes...
It feels so weird to me. It's like Napoleon Dynamite. Did you put the crystals in?
Yeah. He said sometimes they knock loose, and when they're round, whatever. That's what he said. I know, here's the thing.
Is there extras? Can I get an extra
crystal? So I was like, well, what do I do? He goes, there's nothing you can do about it. So I'd had one that I went to the doctor, but I hadn't had one in a few months. And I honestly haven't had one in almost 2 years. I went about a year and a half.
I wonder if you had some inflammation or something. Yeah.
I think he said a lot of it is you can get sick and things like that. I think I'd just gotten sick. Something had happened.
Yeah.
And it kind of knocked me.
Knocked your crystals loose?
Yeah.
And you need to align your chakras?
I still don't even like telling people I had it because I still sound like I was...
It sounds like the doctors are Looney Tunes when they're like, well, there's these crystals in your ear. And you're like, okay, sure, Jan.
Here's the thing. My question is, do you even know? Or is that just someone you told it and you just use it?
Yeah. What do these crystals look like? Who has eyes on the crystals?
He pulled the thing up, like a medical thing on it that was like here. And he was like showing my ear canal and all that stuff. He was like, this is what I think is going on. And I was like, okay. Or you just think I'm crazy, and that's what the explanation
I'm going to give you a crazy
me.
explanation.
And so then I will feel better because you think that's what I need. But I really don't. I got to figure this out.
Yeah.
I think that's what I said to the doctor. Like, dude, I don't come to the doctor for anything. You're actually the first doctor I've seen in probably almost a decade.
And now you're telling me that I have crystals in my ear.
Yeah, I was kind of pissed about it. And he just looked at me like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm like, well, I don't know what to do either. And I left. I'm like, I ain't coming back.
And you're like, and this is why I don't go to the doctor because I just paid all this money for some loony... like Ben, the guy, to say you got crystals in your ear and there's nothing you can do about it.
He probably thought I was crazy too, so whatever.
Okay, well, we are recapping season 4, episode 11 of Unsolved Mystery. If you guys are enjoying Unsolved Couple and finding yourself deep down the rabbit hole with us, we have a tiny favor that makes a huge difference. We're a small independent podcast, no network, no safety net, just Ben, me, and the mysteries. And of course, our favorite part of that equation is you, dear listeners. If you haven't yet, please consider following us on social media, sharing, and commenting on our posts, and most importantly, leaving us a 5-star rating and review wherever you listen. Those ratings and reviews tell the podcast gods this one is worth hearing and helps us find new listeners and keeps us growing. We couldn't do it without you. It truly means the world to us. Thank you for supporting us and thank you for being a part of the unsolved couple community, excuse me. All right, Ben, I've got what, 2 stories today? You've got how many stories? 2?
2. One of
Okay.
mine is very quick.
Yes, it is. So I will get us started then. Does that sound like a plan?
Sure.
Okay. So we are starting off with everyone's favorite, a lost love. But I will say this is a weird one. And it'll make sense later, but I didn't even believe it. I thought it was a hoax.
You thought it was like a Jerry Springer one.
Yeah, I thought this was
They
like a
set
Jerry
Unsolved
Springer.
Mysteries
They
up.
set up Unsolved Mysteries because they wanted their 10 minutes of fame. So
It's true. It's a true story.
it is a true story. And yeah, that was when I started researching afterwards. That was the first. In fact, I didn't even finish the episode. I paused what I was doing because I was like, oh, this is so fake. It's not. But here we go. 2 women named Barbara are each looking for their mother. Remarkably, the 2 Barbaras are also long-term BFFs. For our older crowd, that is best friends forever, who discovered as adults that they had far more in common than they could have ever imagined. Barbara Smith Reed was born July 1940 and grew up in Los Angeles, California. When she was 5, sadly, one of her classmates teased Barbara for being adopted, which breaks my heart because I have my own children and I love kids, but kids suck. They are the worst bullies. And this was something Barbara was aware of. She knew that she was adopted. However, that evening, Barbara was inconsolable. And I forgot that this happened in the 1940s. Remember when doctors made house calls? I mean, I don't remember because it never happened in my entire life. But can we get back to that?
No, that's never going to happen.
I want that to happen.
You just want a doctor to show up.
I want to be able to call the doctor and say, something's going on. Why don't you come to me?
Technically, you can FaceTime a doctor.
I guess you can now.
Video a
That is
doctor's
true.
appointment. So, yes, it is back. You're
Back
welcome.
again.
No.
Doctors in your room are back again. Guess who's back? Guess who's back?
I don't know. That was terrible.
I thought it was awesome. Okay. So her parents rung the family doctor, and his last name is Sultan, which just reminds me of Aladdin. Remember when the bad
Yes,
guy
I know.
becomes Sultan and Jasmine changes into her hot red outfit? And I was like, Jasmine, red is your color. You should stick with that.
You thought red.
She
was
looked
color.
better in the red than the turquoise. You don't think?
I don't know.
You have no opinion on it?
I got no opinions on it.
Well, he stopped by to speak with young Barbara. Remember, she's only 5 years old, okay? He comes into her bedroom, sits down on the edge of her bed, and tells her that, you know that I was the doctor that delivered you, correct? And she said, yes. He said that her real father, or as we call it, biological father, had died in World War II, and that her biological mother had died in childbirth.
Okay.
People, I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. Please stop lying to children when they are adopted.
I am here to tell people.
It's not a good idea.
Don't lie. I just think that's a life lesson that everyone can learn.
Mm-hmm. Be honest. It was a different time, 1940s. I get that.
I'm sorry, not lying is not a new concept.
Yes, I think though in the 1940s and earlier that it was like, if we just integrate this child into these people's lives and they never know, everything will be fine and dandy. And
If we
Maybe
just
that
don't
worked.
tell people the truth in
Maybe
life,
that worked for a lot of because we only hear about the stories where
well,
that
it only
wasn't the
worked
case.
because they believed the lie and were never told the
Mhm.
truth.
Yeah, but even like what last week's episode that we talked about, like people find out things like after like their parents pass away and then they're like dealing with this
Well, we
entire
learn later in this that
okay,
the
what don't know spoiler alerts. But yes, this isn't the first time. Anyways, he's sitting down, he tells her this. So she knows that she's adopted, so they've gotten that far. However, they tell her this story. Dad died in World War II, mom passed away in childbirth. And the doctor, she turns full face with her full, cute little 5-year-old chest and says, I don't believe you, which is real gutsy for a 5-year-old to say to an adult. And I think it was awesome. She just was like, you can say whatever you want to, man. I don't believe you. And this kind of like then gets shelved, right? The dad comes in like the next day and is like, I hope, you're over your upsetness and we can just kind of move on and like, let's pack everything back up and not talk about it.
I am a little concerned that the parents decide, you know what? I'm not going to deal with this on my own. Let's get a third party in here.
Let's bring you in.
Let's bring a doctor in.
And we're going to need you to be complicit on this story that we're weaving.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, dude.
Yeah. So finally, as a teenager, her father does turn over her adoption papers to her. And this is where she learns that the mother's name on the birth certificate is Victoria Baumgartner. However, there is zero indications that the woman passed away in childbirth. So,
Well, I think it says she signed the birth certificate.
yeah, exactly. Like, yeah.
So it means that she was at least alive for a little while
Yeah.
after the birth to sign the birth certificate.
Exactly. So Barbara continues on. And then in 1957, Barbara meets a man named Steve Reed. And they fall in love with each other. And they soon become engaged. Steve and Barbara then, as a couple, go visit one of Steve's friends. And his name is Pie.
Did you say Pie?
Pie. Pie.
That's an awesome name.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
I was actually kind of like, all right. And because what? This is 57. Yeah, kind of. I thought it was just like, what a unique name for 1957. It seemed like these parents, I mean, it's California. It's a little edgy, maybe, right? So this Steve and Pie are friends. Barbara comes over and she walks into this family's living room and she's taken aback because there is a portrait of a girl that looks just like her.
Let me ask you a question, though. Have you ever looked at a picture of a stranger and said, I look like that person? That person looks like
So
me.
I had this happen once with a painting. It was really, and actually I have a picture. Have I never shown you this picture on my phone?
Not that I know of.
It might have been during COVID or something when we were all stuck inside. And I really got into for a short amount of time was like virtual like museum tours and you could kind of like 3D walk through it and look at. And I found a painting and I was like, that looks like me. And it was, but I don't know, like there's nothing also crazy strong feature about me either. So
Except for that you're gorgeous.
thank you. But I do see pictures and stuff, especially Ben, you have a face, and we've talked about it before, that a handful of celebrities you look like.
So what Sierra just said is that I have a very generic face.
No, you're very good looking because all of the celebrities that I'm like, that kind of looks like. I took a picture last night of David Schwimmer on the
I know.
Netflix.
Listen, people get me confused with like Glenn Powell and Chris Hemsworth and Ryan Gosling.
You look nothing like those are all blonde. hair, blue-eyed
I'm
boys.
just saying,
Yeah.
I get mistaken all the time.
But she says, this portrait looks almost exactly like me. Now, I will say I've never had this exact scenario where I see a framed photo of somebody else.
I'm just saying, I've never looked at something and said, that looks like me. People say, you kind of look, and
Yeah.
I don't ever see it.
And that is true. I think a lot of times when people say like, oh my gosh, I saw someone and I thought it was you, or I saw this thing and it looks just like you never see that same resemblance.
No.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So I think, or it really had to have looked
Exactly like her. Yeah.
really close.
And so he says, yeah, that's my sister Barb. Remember, he'd said something before, like, I remember when I said, you guys look a lot alike. So shortly after, they're hanging out at this house in the reenactment. They're like now hanging out in the kitchen, around the kitchen island, having a couple of Cokes like kids do, especially in the 1960s. They're up to, nothing. Everything was like very PG back then in these like reenactments. These are good kids at the soda shop, right? So Barbara comes downstairs and meets Barbara. We got two Barbaras in the story, so it's about to get confusing. So Barbara A is always going to be...
They use their middle name, I think. There's Barbara Ann or Barbara something.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's the only way you can
have them refer
distinguish
to
the
as
two.
Barbara, but I'm going to do Barbara A and Barbara B. Barbara A is the young girl who knew that she was adopted and the doctor came in. Barbara B, best friend Barbara.
Is a lookalike.
Lookalike, yeah. So they meet and become fast friends. And they do everything together, including, guys, they also end up marrying two men who are also best friends. So these young couples, this is like dream come true, right? Are inseparable. Their friendship develops immediately, but also like very deeply. They share huge life events together. They don't like disconnect with each other. This is not what the Lost Love story is about. They don't like go out of touch with each other. They grow up together. They raise their children together. They even called so Barbara becomes Aunt Barbara for each set of these kids. So these women like spend years together. This isn't like 2 to 3 years.
It's almost like their family.
So fast forward sorry, I skipped ahead too far in my notes. So Barbara A had been opened with her friend Barbara B that she was adopted, and on at least one occasion or so mentioned that she'd known her mother's name. The other Barbara, Barbara B, knew about this, maybe asked a couple questions here and there, but it wasn't something that was really prevalent in part of their weekly or daily conversations. And it never really got brought up until Barbara B's mother passed away. In 1966, Barbara B's mom passes away, and the father decides he's ready to sell the family home. So while helping to pack, Barbara uncovers a box filled with mementos from her childhood. She is shocked to discover in this moment that she's adopted.
Again,
an
adult finding out they were adopted. No idea. Family never said a word.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, remember the twin brothers?
Yeah, that's
the guy that never found his twin. It was like the uncle was like, "Oh yeah, we all knew you were adopted, but."
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So she's reading over her adoption papers, and I'm sure at the moment this was a lot to take in, but she notices a last name that sounds familiar on the adoption papers. The last name is Baumgartner.
Sure is.
The same last name as Barbara A's biological mother.
Do you think you're related to the pitcher?
Yeah.
In Major League Baseball?
Baumgartner?
Yeah.
I didn't know there was someone named Baumgartner in baseball.
A few years ago, he was a really good pitcher.
There's Baumgartners from Myrtle Creek, Oregon.
Well, a lot of Baumgartners. Yeah. All right.
So she's clearly like dumbfounded. Is literally the best word I can describe it, because she didn't even know she was adopted. And in a matter of minutes, she goes to find out that her mother's passed away and now she's adopted. And this last name is the same as her other friend that's also adopted. And she says she doesn't connect it at that exact moment, but she starts reading some correspondence. And there was one paragraph in this packet of papers that described the mother as being a healthy woman who had previously had one daughter.
Wait, what? She
Living in
didn't
Beverly
die in
Hills,
childbirth?
was in good health, and like, so she at that moment immediately decides she's going to call Barbara A. And I thought it was funny because Barbara B tells her, this is what's happening. This is all the information. I'm just going to just dump this onto you. Barbara A takes a long pause on the phone and says, I got to call you back, and hangs up on her friend. Which, fair.
It's a lot of information.
It's a lot of
was
information that was just tossed at you. So Barbara A decides to call her adoptive parents. Her father agrees to call Dr. Sultan. Dr. Sultan then confirms that Barbara Smith and Barbara Rettner are actually sisters.
And that he's a liar.
Yes. So the two women, and I don't know if this is done in person or over the phone, they confront the doctor and is like, can you please just like give us some, this story is almost unbelievable. Like I said, you guys, I thought this was fake. I thought this was a hoax. What are the chances that this is real?
Pretty slim.
Mm-hmm. So he goes on to give them very, very little information about their birth mother, just like enough to like confirm that they're sisters. And then to the fact that when he goes on and passes away in 1989, before he passes away, he had all of his records destroyed. What was his relationship with this woman?
Maybe he's a dad.
Whoa. I didn't think about it. It is,
no,
I understand.
I don't think that.
But this has got to be way before like HIPAA and all of that.
I don't know. This guy's kind of a douche, if you ask me.
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, he just flat out lied. Then when he got caught in his lie, he just does. I mean, at least how they portray it. He doesn't seem to be bothered. He's like, nope, I'm still going to take this secret and I'm going to hold on to it. I'm going to keep it to myself.
It's a weird secret to decide to keep. And I know that there's got to be some level of protection for doctor-patient privilege. I don't think that was as big of a thing in the 80s.
Here's the thing. I don't care that he's like, listen, I actually can't tell you. By law, I can't. Maybe that was the case.
Mm-hmm.
What I have a problem with is that he was okay with just lying to protect it. If that was the case, if you can't say, then just say that. I can't tell you.
Yeah.
Listen, I just can't. It's outside of my hands. If you guys want information, you got to go through here.
You got to go through these proper channels. Yeah.
So what it makes you look like is just a liar.
Weirdly complicit in something.
Which you are. I mean, he was a liar. He lied to think. And then it also makes like, well, was this adoption legit?
Yeah, because we've talked about that before too. With the person that adopted the twins out. It was like, yeah, was this legitimate or was this guy just profiting off of taking advantage? Or was he somehow involved with this woman? I don't know.
But it makes him look shady.
Yeah.
All he had to say is like, listen, I'm just the doctor that gave birth to you guys, that helped your mom give birth. What she decided to do and what between her and the adoptive families, that's on them. And I just cannot get involved in this.
And I tried to look into this a little bit. There's not a lot of information out there on this because it's not a crime. But from what I could read online, all it really said was that they did learn that for some unknown reason, this woman was particularly important to this man. But that can mean a lot of things. So I don't know. The woman then contacted the Children's Home Society of California, and they learned about their 23-year-old mother, Victoria Baumgartner, had come to Los Angeles specifically to visit Dr. Sultan, who arranged Barbara A's adoption. 15 months later, she returned back to LA to arrange Barbara B's adoption. And it sounds like, at least according to him, he birthed these children. From what I could find, he arranged their adoptions. I don't know if he did both, but again, we can't believe everything he says.
Yeah, I mean, his credibility is out the window.
Yeah. And that they had spent their entire lives growing up 5 miles apart, both named Barbara Ann.
Wild.
But I think you brought up a good point. 5-mile radius in Los Angeles. The chances that even these women became friends is insane because there's potentially thousands of people. This is not a 5-mile radius in middle of nowhere, Missouri. Yeah. Where there's 8 families that live there. Don't look at me like that because I said Missouri.
I know you picked that state and said it that way just for that reason. And I refuse to take your bait. I
refuse to acknowledge.
I won't take your bait.
Okay, so that's kind of where Unsolved Mysteries leaves us. This is an incredible story, but these 2 women, both named Barbara, sisters, best friends, are looking for their biological mother.
All right.
Okay.
Give us the update.
Update. Solved. Several viewers led the women to Victoria Baumgartner. They have since been reunited with her. However, because she had chosen not to tell anyone that she had actually had 2 children while single, she did not allow the broadcast to show their reunion and does not want any information out there about her.
So did she even have a relationship with him?
I have no idea. I could not find anything. I found an obituary that claimed to be for one of the Barbaras. I want to say Barbara A, but the birth dates didn't match up, but it was attached to the unsolved
page. What years were they
born? She was born in 1940. And it was only 15 months later that...
And it says in there that the mom was 23 when she gave birth. So to this day, the mom is definitely not here. She's over. In 1940, those ladies are 80-something years old.
Yeah.
If they're still around.
I did find a memorial writing for a woman named, I want to say it might have been Barbara A.
But Barbara Ann is such a common name.
Yeah. But lived in that area and was super involved in dog shows. And they wrote this memorial about her, and it kind of looked like some of the things that they said lined up. But yeah, there wasn't a lot out there on it. I don't know if they went on to have a relationship. No one on social media is like, hey, that's my mom or that's my so-and-so. And they had, we normally see someone from the family being like, hey, here's what happened. There's nothing out there like that.
Well, it's not no one's digging.
Trying to look up Barbara Ann Smith.
Yeah, Barbara Smith.
Good luck.
In LA.
In Los Angeles, California. Yeah.
But I'm curious on the Victoria Baumgartner.
I actually didn't try to look her up. I should look her up on Ancestry and see.
I was going to say, I'd love to dig in because maybe she's connected to another husband and more kids.
That's the only thing that makes sense.
It's interesting.
Can you imagine being a child and finding your parent and then being like, okay, I get now we're past... Being an unwed mother in the 1940s is no joke. And I'm not taking away the things that she had to go through to likely, maybe she didn't live in LA and she traveled there, so she didn't have to be whatever. We know already that was a whole different time frame. But then as a full-fledged adult, married with children potentially in your own life, to not even at that point acknowledge that something happened to you, it was probably hard, and integrate these women into your lives is crazy. Yep. Is crazy. I mean, I know you and I have been married since we were teenagers, basically, it feels like.
We were not teenagers. We were 22.
We were 22, which is basically teenagers.
It's not basically teenagers.
But it's very different, I think, than like, remember the guy whose wife woke him up and was like, hey, you have a daughter. Congratulations. And was like excited. It seems like this wasn't that case, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, hopefully at least gave the girls some closure.
I hope so. And they have each other and their sisters. And well, crazy to find out that your lifelong best friend is also your sister.
Yippers.
So, all right. Do you have your notes pulled up?
I do. I came prepared.
Oh, guys, Ben is learning. He's becoming a profesh.
No. I'll never be professional at this. Okay. All right. We're going to learn about the mysterious death of Captain Jeffrey Digman. Jeffrey was a Marine. He always wanted to join the military, so got out of high school. He went to college and then joined the Marines and became an officer. And in 1988, he was promoted to captain in the Marines. And in the Marines, he was stationed in San Diego.
I heart San Diego so much.
San Diego is a beautiful city.
I'm convinced it's the best city in the world. Let me tell you why.
Oh, it is, hands down. It's just too bad it's in California.
Yeah. The weather, it's between, 62 and 82?
If that 80s is hot there.
But if it's 82, you just go to the beach.
I know, it's the perfect city. The weather is gorgeous.
It's perfect.
The beaches are gorgeous.
Beautiful. I love that city so much.
Coronado Island is gorgeous.
That's our favorite place to go.
Yeah, I mean,
we look at real estate every time we go there as if
it's ridiculous.
As if we could ever. But I remember one time we found this beautiful, teeny tiny little 2-bedroom house, like tucked back in all. Maybe real estate's a podcast for a different day, but it was like $8 million, and this was years ago. But I was like, oh, can I manifest buying this?
It's a beautiful place. So,
and remember the pizza place there?
Everything about.
Let's book a trip.
The food is good there.
We do need.
It's a lot of fun.
And I like to go there in June gloom, because we're in Arizona where it's always hot. I like going there when it's a little cool, little cloudy.
Yeah, their Junes are. Yeah,
I love it there.
It's a great place to visit. I couldn't afford to live there.
And they have a great hockey team.
Minor league hockey team.
They have a great minor league hockey team.
Your cat is all over the place.
He's mad at me right now because I clipped his nails.
Okay. All right. So get back to this. So he's stationed in San Diego. And in 1988, he and another officer in the military pool their money together and they buy a house. Smart. So, but that doesn't last long. Jeffrey is in November. I think they said it was in June of 1988. But by November, the military says, you're going. And they send him to Puerto Rico, literally the other side. Could not get further away from San Diego by being stationed technically on U.S. soil.
But, I mean, free real estate advice. Anyone listening to this, if you are in the military and you have a VA, buy a home wherever you go and then rent it out. Yeah. You got to live in there for a year, but proper, Anyways, long story short, that was genius of these two. Yeah. But
yeah, so they buy this house, at least
anywhere to go, Puerto Rico.
And then a few months later, he gets sent to Puerto Rico.
Which it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Anyways, so in January, he's going back. He's on leave and tells his girlfriend, who he was dating in Puerto Rico, Lucy Garcia, he says, I got a few things I got to take care of. I got to get things situated. And so he takes like 2 weeks of leave or something like that and goes back to San Diego. He's back at his house. He's staying there and he's doing his thing. And he's supposed to fly back to Puerto Rico on January 22nd. And his flight is at 10 o'clock at night. or 9:45 at night. So that day was Super Bowl Sunday. That's back when the NFL didn't try to milk the entire season for every dollar they could. And the playoffs were quick and the Super Bowl was still in January.
And they didn't have to like diagram what subscriptions they needed to get to what day it was.
Don't even get me started. Don't bait me. Don't bait me. Okay. So he shows up at the house. Neighbors see him arrive at the house. They said it was around halftime of the Super Bowl. And then at 6:00, neighbors did report hearing what they thought at the time was a car backfiring. We're going to find out it wasn't. 10:00 that night, Jeffrey's roommate comes home and finds Jeffrey's vehicle still in the driveway. I guess the garage is open and there's lights on in the house. And he's confused because Jeffrey's flight was supposed to take off 15 minutes prior. He was in Las Vegas with his girlfriend and they were coming home that day. He shows up. He says something's not right. So he goes to a neighbor's house and says, "Hey, man, I think something's up with my house. Might be someone in it. I don't know. You want to come in and help me out?" And
did that seem weird to you?
It did seem weird.
Okay, because he's supposed to be a Marine, right? And he's going like, and per the reenactment, it's an older gentleman.
But maybe being a Marine, he's like, "Hey, listen, you don't do things by yourself. Go in, whatever." Okay.
Or you want someone else to discover the body.
Yeah. Okay. He got a pretty solid alibi.
I understand that. I just think that was weird.
I did find it weird too.
Especially too if you think that something's not right, someone could be in danger or hurt to not run in to take a beat and be like, "I think I'm going to ask for help on this."
But it's also, here's the thing. I take it with a grain of salt because one, the roommate's not interviewed. And we shouldn't be suspicious of that. And you're going to find out why. We're going to get to the point of why. Yeah. He's not interviewed. Whatever is told to you is from the parents. Mm-hmm. We don't really know what he saw, heard, anything, or how that actually all went down.
Yeah, and unfortunately with Unsolved Mysteries, we do get a lot of single-sided stories from time to time. I mean...
Or just, and maybe that's not, I have no idea.
Unreliable narrators at times, yeah.
This might not be anywhere close to what happened what happened. So anyways, he gets a neighbor. They go into Jeffrey's bedroom and find him laying on the bed, shot with one bullet to the right side, the right temple. So, of course, they go out, they call the police. Police come in, they do an investigation. Jeffrey's blood alcohol level was 0.24. Holy crap. That is
like I said before, I don't understand what that means. You've explained it before.
So it means almost a quarter of your blood is alcohol.
Because alcohol goes from your tummy to your bloodstream.
Yeah.
And that's what water does too, correct? Yes.
So there's like...
So if I was...
Let's just say...
If I was to take a liter or a syringe of your blood out, 25% of that is going to be alcohol and the rest. So it's
just a lot.
There's a lot of alcohol going through
your... There's a lot of alcohol in his body.
Okay.
He's drank a lot.
Like you should be unfunctionable or pretty close to.
Pretty darn close. Okay. 0.24 is just really drunk.
Okay.
I mean, I've heard of people like 0.3.
That's what, 3 times the legal limit?
3 times. The legal limit is 0.08.
And legal limit's only like, for context, just for driving purposes. Is there any other reason? Is that the only definition of the legal limit of alcohol?
Yeah. For driving.
For just driving or operating heavy machinery.
I mean, you can be home. You can be as drunk as you want.
Yeah, there's nothing against that. Yeah, but I guess when they say the legal limit, that's the threshold of like, hey, responsible choice making is here. Irresponsible choices likely follow this percentage of drinking.
I don't know. I mean, some people handle their
They handle their liquor
a little bit better. I sound like I'm 0.24 right now. No. Some people handle their liquor better than others, so they can, I don't know. I'm just saying 0.24 it's a lot. 3 times the legal limit, however you want to say it. So, and there's gunshot residue on his hand. And so police are like, okay, this is kind of an open shut case. And and I'm gonna say this too, because it's gonna come into my update. The detective they interview says after doing the gunshot residue, all that, and talking to his friends and associates, we ruled that this was a suicide. There's no other signs of struggle, no break-in, at least how it was portrayed to us.
And he was home on leave and supposed to go back to Puerto Rico, right?
That night.
Okay, that night.
Yep. So enter the parents. They come in, dad comes in, mom comes in, they're interviewed. They do not believe at all that their son was committed suicide. They think he was murdered. And they have their reasons why. So they then start doing their own investigation to the point, I can't make this up, they collected all of his furniture in that house and then where he was found dead and created a mock-up of that room in the upstairs of their house. The furniture's in the same place. They've recreated the crime scene. They hire a private investigator to help them, and he's going over all that stuff. And they think it's weird because Jeffrey is left-handed. And so these are the reasons why they think he was murdered. He's left-handed.
But does he shoot left-handed? Here's the thing. This is not anything I would have known if this wasn't our personal experience. We have 2 left-handed sons. They do everything left-handed. One of them bats and throws and shoots right-handed, including bow and arrows and handguns.
Yes. So,
but our other son, who is left-handed,
does it all left-handed.
And then at times feels like I could try with my right hand and switches things back. So yeah, he's left-handed everything, but especially for some reason, but archery, he shot left-handed. But then there's been times like when he did baseball, he likes to throw right hand. Like, so it doesn't always mean.
No, it doesn't. No. So prime example, my oldest brother is, and when you're in firearms, you find out which eye you're dominant on.
Oh, and your sister, the same thing. I
just learned this on my sister the other day. So
Ben is an expert marksman and very good teacher of shooting, and it's a hobby that he enjoys doing. So he does know what he's talking about when it comes to this stuff.
So older guns, now we have guns with red dots and that where you shoot both eyes open, right? But back in the day, you had to line your sights and you had to find out what eye you are dominant on. And it is actually not uncommon to be right-handed or left-handed and then be dominant eye of the opposite. My brother is a right-handed individual. He does everything right-handed, but he is left eye dominant. So when he carries a gun, when he shoots a gun, he shoots it left-handed. So that's a very good point. I actually hadn't even thought about that. I don't think too much of it because I actually can shoot my gun right or with my right hand or my left hand. So taking a gun,
and if he was a Marine, he very well could have. I mean, I guess he was an officer. So, I mean, no shade to officers. They are not.
No, but he's gone through all the training.
He's gone through all the training.
And I'm just saying, taking a gun and pulling the trigger, you can do it with any hand.
We saw someone do it with their toe once.
So anyways.
I guess my point is grief can sometimes show itself in a lot of ways. And I'm all about people wanting to know the truth and things not adding up. But a lot of the points that they bring up can very easily be explained away.
So he was left-handed, but gunshot residue and the bullet were on his right side. No, I guess they said he had gunshot residue on both hands, but he had the bullet hole in his right temple. So the parents are trying to think that he would have had to take his left hand and go all the way around to the other side, which, okay, that, anyways, then they, like I said, they hired a private investigator. He then does the trajectory of the bullet, and they think that the trajectory of the bullet to where it landed, he would have had to be in an awkward position, sitting on the bed, like kind of cockeyed, in a weird way, just in a contorted way for the bullet to have that trajectory. Okay. Um, and then he was on the bed, just laying on the bed on his back. And they said that there was blood that had run down his face, like behind his ear. And for that to have done that, he would have had to have been at least upright for 6 to 7 seconds for blood to run down his ear or the side of his face. So they just don't think he would have shot himself, fell on the bed, and blood. And then there was a blood stain, a smudge. It appears, at least in the reenactment, like 5 or 6 inches away from his head on the bed. And so that, and he had like a bruise on an arm or a leg. So they thought there was injuries there that weren't consistent.
Dude, if something ever happens to me and people are like, the bruises, I'm covered in bruises all the time, and I cannot tell you where they came from. And here's the thing, those are, again, I don't know how accurate the science is behind the questions that they're asking, but I see what they're wanting to know and wanting to get some more information. I think a lot of things like blood spatter and trajectories and different things like that, science has kind of come a long way. But yeah, I mean, those are fair questions. It was weird to me. I wasn't sure if the reenactment was exactly accurate. He is laying back, which, I mean, I guess typically you would think a thing in motion tends to stay in motion.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not a blood expert.
Yeah, I don't know. But there's something wrong with asking questions. But yeah, okay, continue. Sorry. I'm just thinking out loud.
So they, months later, exhume his body and have a second autopsy done. And in the second autopsy, they do notice there's a couple more injuries to like a leg and an arm, nothing too severe. It gets sent to the Naval and Criminal Investigative Service, and they look at it and they're like, well, but it's nothing significant. And so they continue. They still rule that it was a suicide. The hospital that does the second autopsy, they look at it, they send it, and now they have both autopsies and they're looking at it. And they did change his death from suicide to unknown. But when it gets sent to the Navy Investigative Service and the Sheriff's Office, again, they say, no, we're pretty certain this is a suicide. So they stay with that. The parents then come in and they say, listen, we think there was motive here because I guess for 7 months he was working at the San Diego Marine Drug Testing Unit. And there he felt that there was drugs in guy's system and there was drugs being sold, and that he was telling people about it and they weren't doing anything about it. The mom comes in and tells us that she saw papers in his safe one day in the room that he was found and asked him, what is that? And he's like, well, that's all my documents so that when, if they try to do anything, I've got proof that they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. It's kind of his, he says it's his backup. And then when they went in to go get all of his furniture, that safe, it's kind of weird because they say it's a safe, but then they also say it was in a desk. So was it in a desk? Was it in a safe? It's not there. And they don't know where all that paperwork of failed drug tests are. And then the girlfriend in Puerto Rico helped some enlistee guys. They show up. to pack up his things to send back to his parents. And she packs up a green book, which seemed to be like a diary. All of it's full. There's a bunch of pages in it. She hands it to an enlistee. He packs it in the box, and it gets sent to their parents' house. When they get that box, they find this green book, and they said that a bunch of pages had been ripped out. So they're curious, what was it? They think they think the military or someone involved killed their son and covered it up. So, let's see, it was the Armed Forces Institute of Pathology. They're the ones that changed it from suicide to undetermined. But there's no suspects, and that's kind of where Unsolved Mysteries leaves us. The parents are pretty adamant. You know, the dad's like, listen, I have a job to do. I'm going to find out who killed my son. And you see their house. You see this setup of this crime scene in their house. And so that's where Unsolved Mysteries leaves us.
Okay. Any updates?
No.
I didn't think
I
so.
looked into this. I dug into it a little bit.
Still listed as undetermined?
I don't know.
Okay.
Everyone pretty much thinks
he took his own life.
So I did read in some things. There's not a lot. It appears his dad passed away in 2014. I couldn't find his mom. I'm not sure if she's passed away, if she still is living. I mean, there was some things, and that's why I said it earlier, that but friends and people that have been working with him said he'd been drinking pretty heavily for a while and had made pretty gloom comments.
Okay.
What all that was, I don't know.
Oh, that makes me sad.
So that's why I think the detective for the sheriff's office, when he said, after interviewing friends and coworkers and the evidence. Yeah, so technically, according to Unsolved Mysteries, it is unsolved. I'm sure that personally, I don't think they brought forth a lot of things. Any smoking guns? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, as they were kind of, we've had other stories before, like some of these guys that have wound up dead in a hotel room, and you're like, remember the guy with like the cord around his neck and electricity? I'm like, government, and you guys, you know me. I do not trust the government. However, while this guy was an officer, it didn't seem, according to anything that he either talked about, that he was involved in super high up. Okay, military people not passing drug tests. That's not the end of the world, and not something that the military likely probably hasn't dealt with before.
I guess what I'm saying, you didn't bring forth anything of why the military would want to kill you to cover up a few failed drug tests of enlistees.
Of enlistees, exactly.
And personally, the Green Book, missing pages, you literally have enlistees packing stuff up.
Yeah.
And you think they're in on a conspiracy to hide a murder?
Yeah.
And you think the sheriff's office, which has no ties to the military, is just discounting a possible, and the NCIS.
Yeah, you need a lot of people to be in on this for what
the NCIS are looking like. Their job is to investigate other military personnel for crimes.
Yeah.
I guess, what's the benefit? What would be the benefit of killing him and staging it as a suicide?
Yeah.
And maybe there is, but it just wasn't brought forth.
Yeah.
At least no strong case was brought forth. It breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Because these parents clearly, they lost a son, and that is terrible.
Suicide is a very, very hard thing. And actually, just while we're talking about it, in case anyone out there is struggling with any sort of thoughts of self-harm or suicide, help is available 24/7. The 988 is the Suicide Crisis Lifeline. You can call or text that day or night.
Don't do it. Don't.
There's so many reasons to be here, and we want you here. And that's the thing. Then you see these stories of these families grieving in a way that they want to avenge something terrible that happened to their son. And yeah, this was a really sad story because to me, from like the beginning, it seemed very much like I almost am sad that Unsolved Mysteries gave him a platform because it felt like
it was reaffirming there.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I hope that wasn't the case.
Mm-hmm.
But what broke my heart is seeing these parents staging their sons. I can't imagine as a parent continuing to see the crime scene of my son and having to live with that. It breaks my heart that maybe things could have been more clear and there could have been more evidence. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It breaks my heart that there wasn't more there for the parents to know one way or another, and then to have closure to bury their son and have that closure in life.
Yeah.
And if it was a murder and it was covered up, that's terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very sad to see these parents not be able to have closure of a terrible thing in life.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah.
Okay, let's take a shift and talk about a treasure hunt. Okay, so we're going to talk about a little bit of history and a little bit about the lure of a treasure. Trabuca. This is Spanish. So how TR's A and B in Spanish are what? Do you know?
I'm sorry, what are you asking?
Trabuca. I'm trying to say, I probably am saying that incorrectly because this is Spanish. It's a Spanish name. TRABUCA.
Yeah, that sounds
Is that right? Okay. So Leon Trabuco was a Mexican millionaire who sought to become a multimillionaire. And in 1933, the greedy businessman. Now, as they're telling this story, literally, I took some of this exact quotes from, Robert Stack's and Unsolved Mysteries. I am picturing Scrooge McDuck. And what did Scrooge McDuck do that all of us wanted to do?
He had a vault that he could swim in of money.
How is that the number one thing that no matter when you grew up watching Scrooge McDuck, he had a pool full of money coins that he could dive into and swim through and then spit coins out of his mouth. And that looked so fun.
And he could dive to the bottom, but then still float to the top.
Float to the top.
Because that's what happens in money.
So I'm imagining this guy is Scrooge McDuck. So he's a greedy businessman who sees an opportunity to believe that Mexico's neighbor to the north, which would be the great United States of America, was his means of achieving this goal of multi-millionaire status. And this is in 1933, so that's a hefty goal in 1933.
Especially because we're in the Great Depression at that time.
Yes, we are, but he's actually he's trying to capitalize on that as well. So he believes that he could use the Great Depression of the United States to increase his fortune. Convinced that the United States would soon devalue the dollar and that gold prices would skyrocket. I do not understand how those two are connected, and I did not bother to look it up. But somehow the value of the dollar going down meant that prices of gold were going to go up. Do you have anything to add to that? You're looking like...
What? No.
No, okay.
I just say if the value, then people are then shifting their money from the stock market into gold.
Into a physical item?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought there was something about silver happening during that time frame. There's a history story about silver being brought more into play because, I don't know, that's something else I've learned about a long time ago that I can't think of all the facts right now, so I won't share them because it will probably be muddled up and incorrect. So he gets 4 other men pulls him into this meeting and is like, listen, guys, do I have a story for you? I am convinced that America's having a hard time right now. The value's going down. We can seize an opportunity. And he decides that they can buy up a bunch of gold in the Mexican continent's reserve and resell it in the United States when the prices go up. Kind of like the scenario in Seinfeld where he's like, let's buy sodas here, soda cans here in New York, and we're going to drive them. Is it like Minnesota that has the 10 cents? We get to double our money.
I think it was Michigan or
Michigan,
something like
yeah.
that.
Okay.
That's a great episode.
It is a great episode and is very similar into what they're planning on doing. Okay. So they're going to buy up as much gold as they can in Mexico. They got to get it into America and they got to sell it. So at a makeshift, this is so old school, like cowboy Western Mexico. These people makeshift their own gold foundry or whatever it's called, where they can melt gold down themselves. It's like happening. I just imagine this happening in a little casita somewhere, right? They're melting down gold coins. They're melting down grandma's jewelry. They're casting it into what they call ingots. Ingots.
Ingots?
Egots.
Okay.
It's like gold nuggets.
Gold nuggets.
Or gold bars.
Okay.
And in less than 3 months, him and his little McStuffin group people had collected 16 tons of solid gold. Tons is thousands, so 16,000 pounds, right? Nope.
1 ton is 2,000 pounds.
So double that. 16 plus 16 is 32,000 pounds of gold.
Yep.
That's a lot of gold.
That is a lot of gold.
And gold is heavy. Like, the whole point is, like, this is not an easy thing to move, right? Yes.
You would imagine so.
I get that.
You would imagine if you
I get that that's redundant, that I'm like, it's 32,000 pounds.
That's heavy.
That's heavy.
Yeah,
I got it. Okay, yeah. I'm catching up now. Here we go. Hey.
Dude, that 45-pound weight, it's like 45 pounds.
It's like 45 pounds. I don't know why I was thinking that would be different than like 62,000 pounds of feathers. It's still going to be 62,000. It's going to be, it's going to be,
a pound is a pound.
It's going to take up more space. I think that's what I meant to say.
I think that's what you
It's a lot.
It's a lot of inventory.
You're not moving this is not a smuggling operation that you're trying to move a small size of something.
Well, like one rock can be really heavy, but it's small.
It's one rock.
But it's small, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So
there we go.
I got what you
got what I'm laying down?
We got where you were going.
Okay.
Eventually.
So they smuggle this gold into the United States, and if they're caught, they're facing a long prison sentence. So he searches for a safe place to hide this illegal treasure, but eventually he decides it would be smarter to, what do they all decide to do when they have a bunch of gold?
Well, we've all learned that if you have a lot of wealth, you should bury it.
Bury it. And what better place in the heat of summer than to hire a pilot and make several covert flights into the New Mexico desert?
Yeah, you should always bury your gold and wealth in a desert. Mm-hmm. It's a great idea.
Great idea.
Dude, can you?
Nope. No.
There's so much gold in Arizona and New Mexico.
Mm-hmm. Apparently.
And it's just under the ground.
Just gotta
never showing its face.
Nope. This is what, our third or fourth treasure story.
Do you think this is the same gold as that one guy that found the mine on top of that hill and all those bricks and all that? Maybe.
So I will say, I did look that up. Remember
with
the wife
I think that
named
was
Babe
after.
or something? It was, and that was at the White Plains missile. Though it's in a different location. Maybe.
Or because technically, if this is 1933, that was in the late 30s, right?
Yeah. Maybe he found it and that's what he moved there.
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't know. Which means then the government has it in Fort Knox.
Fort Knox.
Yep. So, It's believed that he chose sparsely populated region near the Ute and Navajo Indian reservations in New Mexico. He allegedly made 16 flights, each one of them carrying the 2,000 pounds of gold each time, taking them to pick up trucks, transport them to the burial site, but then never releasing the location, and was also careful not to create a map.
Wait, what year is this? 1933? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. 6 months later, and this is where the history comes in that you might have some more information on that I don't know a lot about. President Franklin Roosevelt signed the Gold Reserve Act of 1934 into law. Effective January 30th, the act required all gold and gold certificates held by the Federal Reserve to be surrendered and vetted into the United States Department of Treasury. And I think that it weirdly made it also illegal for human individuals in America, even if they found it on their own property, to own gold. Like you couldn't sell it either. Like the government just basically said, all gold in the United States now belongs to us. Do you know anything about this? The Gold
Well, I
Act?
think we ran into this problem in that one story that we've already
Yes, because that was the problem.
at that time I was not quite, because that's why he was afraid to go get it, because if he got it,
he'd have to give it all up,
the government pretty much would say, no, it's ours.
which
So it was illegal to
I'm annoyed
own.
about,
Of
even though
course,
this
we're
doesn't
all
exist
annoyed.
anymore. I'm
Yeah.
like, F all the way right off of, but leave it to the American government to be like, hey-o, do you know today, right now, when you sell a house or buy a house,
Oh, Sierra, dude,
guys, okay.
Sierra just got worked up.
So you own.
All right, she's
technically,
readjusting
I'm
her
readjusting.
seat.
You guys, when you buy a house, at least here in the state of Arizona, you own the airspace above and like to the ground below, right? You buy this land, you pay taxes on it. It's yours, yours, yours. And the government takes your tax money every year on it, and they raise your tax money on it every year. But inside your paperwork of your house, it says that you have land rights, but you don't own mineral rights, which means when we were digging up our yard for our pool, if we cracked that ground open, because there is gold, here's the thing. In the state of Arizona, we have a lot of mines and there's a lot of minerals here. If we cracked that ground open and found something crazy underneath it, the Arizona state government could come in and say, thank you, we shall be taking that now. And I have a problem with that, and there's really nothing I can do. I tried actually when we bought our house to get that taken out of the contract, because a contract is a two-way street. You have to agree and disagree and sign things. And they said it couldn't be done. But anyways, I don't know a lot about this, but I'm annoyed that this was even at one point a thing, but I'm also not surprised because the government loves to just make rules up and say, we're going to take all of this. So, okay, that was my rant. That was my soapbox.
Okay.
If you find gold, keep it secret. Keep it safe.
Okay.
So he signs this into law. And of course, the price of gold soars at this point because the Great Depression, things are bad.
Well, because now it's rare.
Now it's rare, right? And
because technically you can't own it and sell it.
Yes,
and whatever is
now,
rare is
and that's
valuable.
why I think you want my conspiracy theory is why the government did it, because
Probably because
they
it was
were
sitting on
struggling.
gold
They were sitting on
and
gold.
they needed to raise money.
And at one point, somewhere silver comes into play here. And I think there was two people that approached Roosevelt at this time. And one of them owned a bunch of silver and one of them owned a bunch of the share holdings of gold. And they were not elected officials and they had secret behind the door closed meetings. And then the Gold Act went into play.
All right.
Okay. So
let's get back to our story.
Now gold is rare and the group's holdings would have increased by $7 million.
Ooh, that's a
But
lot.
what happens sometimes when people get what they want?
They start killing each other.
No.
Oh, dang it.
Greed comes in because they're not content with $7 million.
They think it's going to keep
They
going up.
think if we hold out just a little bit longer, I'm going to get more and the payout's going to be bigger. However, they were unaware that FDR's executive order 6102 issued a year earlier, April 5th, 1933, prohibited private ownership of most gold within the United States and forbidden American citizens from owning or trading gold in most forms around the world, anywhere in the world. So you could even be an American citizen and take your gold to France, and you weren't allowed to do that.
Yeah, you can say it, but people can still do it. But yes, yeah, okay. I got you.
Okay. Following, though, the thing is with most things, there was a grace period. There was a grace period of which you could sell and get rid of this stuff. And I guarantee the government's like, we'll buy it from you. But
At a discounted
at a
rate.
discounted rate, we'll take that from you. So following a grace period, all Americans holding gold and gold certificates had to surrender by law them to the Federal Reserve in exchange for paper currency at the value the government deemed appropriate.
I mean, they were seizing people's assets.
Yes, you guys. This is not a history podcast, but this should make you angry and scared and just be aware.
Well, I mean, you wonder why the Depression continued.
Mm-hmm. Ding,
because
ding.
it was these kinds of policies and tactics they were trying to enforce. It drug the Depression out.
Yeah, and the rich got way, way wealthier during this time frame. And the people that were literally starving in the street dragged on. So the only exceptions, of course, were due to some forms of rare jewelry and collective coins. So there was this like little caveat, but these melted down 16-ton gold bars did not fit into that category. So these men are sitting basically on useless gold now. It's worthless.
Good thing they buried it.
Good. I mean, I guess they could have. To me, my reasonable side is, all right, you invest some, you win some, you lose some. Let's cash out what the government's going to pay us, the U.S., and just cut our losses.
Or just take it back to Mexico.
Yeah, sell it somewhere else. What are the Spaniards doing at this point? What's
citizens.
happening? Yeah, fair point. Fair point, Ben.
I mean, you were trying to use the U.S. economy to capitalize. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But, free market.
But clearly
it didn't
work out. So take it back.
Yeah.
Because gold is still valuable in Mexico too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So enter treasure hunter Ed Forrester. He has been searching for this treasure in the desert around Farmington, New Mexico for, bless his heart, over 35 years.
So they just left it.
According to lore, they left it. We'll get into it.
Okay.
I'm just giving you the story like Unsolved Mystery. We got a little background. There's 16 tons of Mexican melted gold of grandma's, crucifix has been melted down and is now in the desert somewhere in New Mexico. And millionaire men in Mexico just walked away from it. Okay? He is convinced that he found the 1933 landing strip used by the pilot at a plateau called Conger Mesa. He has spoken with a Native American lady and a Nauvoo, not Nauvoo, that's in Missouri, Navajo women who was 6 years old in 1933 who recall a plane landing and taking off in that area. Ed said that she remembered several Mexican men who also lived on the reservation. You look like you want to say something.
No, I'm just listening to the story. I got so many issues. He
found an old Navajo home unlike any other on the reservation, about 20 miles west of the mesa. It was probably meant as a guard post to guard the gold, according to him. It's a Mexican-style structure with windows and a front door and a back door, not far from a shrine rock inscribed with the dates and words on it. And this is real. Shrine rock is real, and there is inscriptions on it. But if you spent any time in the desert, inscriptions and drawings and stuff on rocks are not rare. But it says 1933 16-ton. Ed believes the gold could be hidden away somewhere in the vicinity of 3 points, of these 3 points: the house, the landing strip, and the rock. It's a triangle that he's created in his mind. Treasure hunter Norman Scott believes that the $2 treasure has an air of authenticity to it.
Authenticity?
Authenticity. He believes that with the available technology today, it's only a matter of time before it's discovered. And that's kind of where Unsolved Mystery leaves us.
Okay. Give us this update. Who found all this gold and made it rich?
It's unsolved.
What?
And
I
today
would
there's a
never
lot of
suspect that.
questions about people if this is even real.
What?
So
I'm so
I found
surprised by that
two
too.
very separate things. You noticed yesterday I was very annoyed. I think treasure hunting sounds fascinating. I could totally see this as a
I'm
hobby.
here for treasure
I'm here
hunting
for it.
too.
We go on vacation. I like digging for cool rocks. It's weird. I know it definitely speaks of whatever level of tism I have, but every time we go somewhere, you can find me squat in a creek bed somewhere looking for shiny objects. So I get it. I'm here for it. And so there's two very different chats I found online going on about this. One on the actual Unsolved Mysteries page, there's like 50 posts below it, which was a little bit of a red flag because it's more than on some of the biggest stories that they have. And they are all of people claiming that they have information from someone, somewhere, somehow, Ed, Captain America, Grandpa Joe have given them this tiny little piece of information. And that if someone would just fund their expedition, they could find this treasure. It's literally resume after resume after resume of people saying, I've got the secret to this puzzle. Here's my email. Let's chat. I just need someone to give me money. I just need someone who can pay me so I can take 6 months off work. I need someone to buy the equipment, but I know I have the information. I just need the financial backing. That's on the Unsolved Mysteries page. That's all it is. And every single one of them that claims that they have a piece of the pie is coming from a different direction and a different source.
Okay.
Okay?
So people are still looking.
People are still looking for it. Then there is this other thread that was talking about that supposedly the people that knew about this were close to the Indian reservation and moved the gold to the Indian reservation. So now it's inside an Indian reservation and it is against federal law for you to go and dig up stuff.
Yeah.
And that to them, this was something that they did and I don't know who, what, where, when, or why, and they did it. And so now it's basically just lost to the ages and it can never be found because it's protected land and it cannot be dug up. And it's just a lure that some of these Navajo people like to share about their land. That's actually, to me, my favorite potential. That's cool. And then Reddit has a whole thread on it and it's skeptics. And so this was the points that they raised. How did Ed Foster find out about this story in the first place? The guy that's sharing this story. The plan was presumably hatched in a secret meeting, presumably somewhere across the border, presumably with no records. So how was the story even generated and then shared publicly? We don't know. He never tells us.
That's my question. How did this story even get out? Do you always have to ask that?
How do we know about the grand jury investigation? I'm not sure, but I think at one point the federal government had heard that maybe these guys had done this and there was a grand jury, but grand juries are secret, right? Or not, maybe secret's not the right word. They're not open to the public. So I'm not a lawyer, but to my best knowledge, that's all top, kept secret. So how is it that there are people claiming on the internet that they've got secret records to these grand jury meetings that has more questions and information? Okay, whatever. Shrine Rock, which Foster put so much of his faith in, seems like a hoax to me. First off, what reason would have someone to carve that into a rock? So there are people claiming that he carved it into the rock.
It is It is strangely specific.
Secondly, these men were from Mexico. Ton is not a Spanish word.
Okay, I did not know
And
that.
if they were so secretively, why would they literally write on a rock
All great
all of
questions.
that information? And again, I don't know what technology was available by then, but like measuring that out exactly, maybe they did know how much they had. They were probably far more advanced because they were people of means to start with. But yet, I don't know what they would have referred to it in Mexico, but ton was not how things were. It's not a Spanish word and it doesn't have origins from down there.
It's not a measurement of weight.
A weight that they would have used. So they wouldn't have then carved it into a rock.
Yeah, because we here are the only ones that use pounds.
Mm-hmm.
They use kilograms.
Mm-hmm.
At least if I remember correctly.
Yeah, because the highway here, Interstate 19,
that's not,
changes to the, I mean, that's a difference, but it's meters, right? It changes, like they use a different, yeah. So, okay. Personally, I think this is a hoax.
It's 100% a hoax. Again, my question.
I think that maybe this started out as some sort of lure or story that was maybe told in a few little places, because that's how things usually grow. I think that it's evolved over time and gotten way kind of carried away. The first mentions of it historically is by a name of W.C. Jameson. Him nor any of these men's names show up anywhere on any census records that I could find. And again, I'm not an expert on this.
Yeah.
In the National Archives, in the census records in US or Mexico.
Well, I mean, there's just so much that does make sense. Like I said, you flew all this thing and you buried it. Now it's worthless in the U.S. You're not a U.S. citizen.
Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't you just take it back?
Why don't you just take it back?
And let's be honest. People in this caliber all invented or invested in this together. And someone royally messed up by not double checking the paperwork or the loopholes. Do you think that would have gone over just fine and dandy?
No.
I would have thought we would have heard about this because people were killed over this whoopsie daisy.
Yeah. So I also debunked it too.
Okay.
By doing one itty bitty research.
Okay.
1933.
Mm-hmm.
No plane besides a military or commercial could carry 2,000 pounds at that time.
There you go. Literally, this man spent 40 years of his life doing this.
Yeah.
That was I didn't even think about that, but you are correct. To carry that much weight on an airplane.
Put it in. So let me tell you where my source is. I put it into AI. So, I mean, if people want to discount that.
We love ChatGPT around
here. I do
like
like ChatGPT. I put it in.
But again, always do your own research.
I say, could a plane, I at first asked, could a plane carry 2,000 pounds? And it says, yes, absolutely. But it had to have been a military or commercial plane. So I asked, could a citizen plane carry 2,000 pounds in 1933? And it says, if by citizens you mean a plane owned and operated by a private citizen,
yeah.
The answer is it would have been a very rare and expensive feat. The executive solution, if you were a wealthy citizen, the 1930s quote, you could buy a high-performance cabin plane. However, even the best of these struggled to carry a full ton in addition to the plane's own weight. Beechcraft Staggerwing Model 17, first flown in late 1932. This was the Ferrari of the skies. It had a useful load of about 1,600 pounds. After you accounted for the plane and full tank of fuel, you would have roughly 800 to 1,000 pounds left for cargo.
Yeah, I mean, there you go.
So, and I mean, it goes on. Obviously, that was just my first. I was like, this is 1933. Aviation is still pretty new. And even today,
saying, hey, is there something I can put 1,000 pounds on?
Well, even today.
Or 2,000 pounds on? That's a lot of weight.
I deal with helicopters and stuff, and they are always asking, like, what's the weight? Like, what do you got? And so even today, weight is a big deal in aviation. 2,000 pounds on top of, I'm sure for planes nowadays, even citizens, I don't know, but I'm not a pilot. I don't fly like Cessnas or anything like that. But I can imagine that's just my one thing. I'm sure there's many other things.
But even when we fly commercial, we have to weigh every single thing before we go. I've had them rearrange people on an airplane to distribute weight evenly. It's a huge deal. I'm surprised in all of the years that these treasure hunters, no one has thought of that.
Well, it doesn't matter because once you believe it, then you would say, well, then they just brought in 800 pounds at a time and they just did a bunch more flights than what we know. Like they're gonna find ways around it because technically you could find ways around.
But the cost to even do that, I don't know if these men. That's a lot of capital that would have been spent, and whoever flown this plane would have made the most money off of it. I've also known with treasure hunters, the fact that this man flew this plane and that people drove trucks, I can imagine these millionaires are out there digging up the ground and burying it themselves. All of those people would be dead.
Well, or
they would have been taken out afterwards.
Or they'd see what was going on and take it themselves.
Exactly.
I don't know.
All right.
Debunk.
You got our last story for us?
Yep, we're going to be real quick about this one, okay? This was just an alert, an Unsolved Mysteries alert. And this is a church arsonist, okay? Robert Stack comes in, tells us that there has been a lot of churches being burnt in Florida, and it started in July of 1990, Jackson County, Florida. By June 1991, 15 churches have been targeted. And they said it went on till June. Then there was like a hiatus for a few months. And then early October 1991, the First Baptist Church in Ocala was burnt down. And then it just, they said it went for like a week, a church a day. It grew to 26 churches in the state. That's a
lot of arson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Florida finally created a task force. They had the federal government involved, everything. Because by now, we're talking millions and millions of dollars in damages. Thankfully, it was all done at night. No one had been hurt. But at this rate, someone's going to get hurt.
Yeah, this seems to be escalating.
Yeah. So
let's get Robert Stacks and that trench coat and that foggy background to solve this problem.
They said as the 5 hours before the camera crew showed up to film, another church had been started on fire. Like it was happening almost every single day.
Yeah.
So, all right. That's literally, Unsolved Mysteries tells a story very quickly. That's where they leave us.
We've seen a few of these before. They're not very common, but it seems like every once in a while the FBI or someone would reach out and do these alerts.
Yeah.
Pre-America's Most Wanted.
All right.
Okay. What's our update?
Ready for your update? Caught.
Mm-hmm. But there's a weird...
It's strange.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned in my research, a Tennessee drifter by the name of Patrick Lee Frank was caught and charged for it. How they caught him, it was on November 13th, 1991. He was actually loitering outside one of the church fires. And they arrested him, and the church fires stopped. And so then they questioned him.
Yeah.
And he admitted to it.
Yep.
He confessed.
Yeah.
Patrick is a troubled young man.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually not a lot. I dug into this guy. I tried to dig into him.
Yeah.
He has a very sad story.
I was worried about that when I saw. I
very sad story.
Looked
it
at this.
It appears that he was sexually abused by a church member in a church, by a leader. And then he had schizophrenia.
As a child, right?
As a child. Yeah. He had schizophrenia, and he told investigators that the churches were voices in his head and telling him to do bad things. So he was trying to burn the churches down to stop the voices in his head.
Breaks my heart.
No, this is a very sad
Yeah.
story. Very sad.
Because we see this with schizophrenia. We see childhood trauma, and oddly enough, religious trauma at times too with schizophrenia is what ends up being these people's demons that haunt them.
So yeah, he associated these churches with these voices that were telling him to do bad things. So he was burning them down, and when they weren't going away, it was escalating. At first, it was just every once in a while, and it continued to escalate. He was charged, and he was actually found not guilty due to insanity. But he was put into a mental institution. He did 15 years. He got out in 2008. I tried to find him after.
I don't.
And I could not find anything. Everything on him is just these churches back in the early 90s.
And I don't know what kind of services are available to people that are found either incompetent to stand trial. I know incompetent to stand trial, they have to provide services until they're competent to stand trial, or found not guilty by reason of insanity. Again, you're not just let go. You are committed to some level, but I don't know what services are provided to someone post that.
I don't know either. That's why I wanted to see if he was still out there or if he'd even gotten picked up for other crimes. You know, I hope not.
Yeah, or found potentially a regime and a plan and what's the word I'm looking for? A schedule or something to...
I couldn't even find how old he was.
Yeah, there's not a lot out there about him.
His name only shows up in things talking about these church fires. So, and as you can imagine, his name is a very common name. What did I say? His name was Patrick Lee Frank. So, you know, and he was homeless. And it was it's a sad story. I mean,
Thankfully, no one got
hurt. But sad story.
And I mean, say what you will, it is a sad story. I am grateful, and again, I didn't dig into this, so maybe this is super ignorant, that at least it appears that justice was served, that he did commit a crime, but then was found not guilty by reason of insanity, which is not an easy thing. It's not an easy bar to meet.
Well,
does that make sense?
You don't hear that very often.
You don't hear it very often. And so hopefully that opened up some avenues and some doors to provide treatment, support system.
Yeah, I hope he got the help he needed.
Yeah.
And so that then, you know, he can go out.
Schizophrenia is not the end all be all. Like,
no, there's I don't know much about it, but I'm hoping there's resources out there, and hopefully he got the resources he needed, and he still is.
Yeah, I hope so too. All right, guys, that is our recap of what were we chatting about? Season 4, episode 11 of Unsolved Mysteries. And now is the time in the episode where Ben and I have some casual conversation. If that's not your thing, that's not your jam, you can use your safe word and exit. For the rest of you guys, buckle up, buttercup. It's about to get crazy in here.
That seems ominous.
All right, I got an easy question for you this week.
35.
I think that's always your answer.
It is.
Give me your ideal Super Bowl halftime performer or performances. Build me your... And here's the thing. It can be from any time. We're saying all hands on deck. You want to tell me that Mozart is your thing? I don't care. I want to hear potentially the band could still be together. They could be broken up. They could have passed away. Whatever. Build me your halftime performance. And it can be one person. You could have a few.
I'm a country guy.
Yeah.
So, but you know who there's a few guys I would love to see perform.
Okay.
Johnny Cash.
Okay.
Garth Brooks.
Okay. You're saying in your performance, these two would have collabed. Like we saw Shakira and J-Lo, like they came together and did a performance together. Their creative minds. One. Yeah. You take any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Has Garth Brooks ever performed at the halftime show? I don't think so.
I know of.
And
no,
that's crazy to me because that seems like a missed opportunity.
I guess the real question is, have they ever asked?
I don't know, but there's also a conspiracy theory that Garth Brooks is actually a serial killer.
No. I don't know where that came from, but that's the
I
dumbest
know
thing
that
I've
you,
ever
but
heard.
I'm just telling you, it's one of those weird one-off conspiracy theories that.
I'll say, I don't know a lot about Garth Brooks, but I listened to his music
Mhm.
growing up.
Yeah.
Big fan. Also, Billy Joel. But I have seen Billy Joel perform,
Yeah.
but I think he would actually do
I
an
think a
awesome
90s
job.
country halftime show would
Yeah,
be unmatched.
I do think if you got Garth Brooks, like Trisha Yearwood, Reba McEntire, Alan Jackson, George Strait, Diamond
So
Rio.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
We went to a show a few weeks ago. There is a band here in Tucson. Actually, I think they perform throughout Arizona. They get together, at least at our local place, once a year. And what did she say that they actually, between them,
they're
play
like 4 bands
4 or
that come
6
together.
different bands? And they all come together. And the stage was packed. There was multiple instruments, multiple people singing. And the entire night, the place was double the cover charge for this band. The place was packed, and they only play 90s country music. And when I tell you guys, no joke, the bar age ranged from, because you can be there at first for like the first hour. Anyone under 21 can be there for the first hour. I didn't see anyone leave after that, or they didn't announce that. So maybe this wasn't the case that night. From 21 to people in their like late 80s looked like they were on that dance floor, and it brought everyone together. It was like the crossroads of America was happening at the Maverick that night with that band.
Well, and that the one of the guitar players was wearing that flame shirt from Brooks and Dunn.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Brooks and Dunn, big Brooks and Dunn. I
Mhm.
mean, 90. Yeah, that was one of the best nights they played. Their music was awesome.
Yeah, I think if
They
there
played
was
Garth Brooks,
if I
they
was
played
in charge
everybody.
of planning the Super Bowl, that would be on my list for sure. Is a 90s country, and the decoration, or the whole performance would lean into the lure of that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
So, and I'm saying like Billy Joel was awesome.
Mhm.
I've seen him live, and that was the best concert I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So
I feel like
would
he
be
has
awesome.
performed at the halftime
I
show.
don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know all of it. I know like the biggest ones we've had. Definitely the biggest one they've ever had was back in the 90s with Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mhm.
Give me some good old 90s country artists. I don't understand how you've not asked Garth Brooks, or at least back in the day. He literally won Performer of the Year almost every year. And then he
Mhm.
won Performer of the Decade.
Yeah.
So the guy was
Everywhere.
electric.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was the CD I listened to the most, was his live album.
Yeah.
I remember I watched his live thing on TV when I was a kid. It was
Well, his concert still to this day, he toured a few years ago, and I tried to get tickets. They sold out within seconds. It was like impossible to get. And here's the thing. He's not current Taylor Swift. That's what I mean. He's not currently producing and doing new music. This is,
No.
and for him to sell out shows that fast worldwide was insane.
All right.
Yeah.
What's yours?
If it's not 90s country, it would be 2000s pop. We did a few years ago, they did early 2000s rap with Eminem and Snoop Dogg,
Dr. Dre.
50 Cent, Dr. Dre. That halftime performance was my favorite one to date. I did like the Shakira and J-Lo one. But I think if you got Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears, Spice Girls, Hanson, like I'm talking
Christina Aguilera.
We even have early Beyonce. We've got Mandy Moore, like so many iconic. We've got like, you could do a whole princess pop and it'd be early 2000s and it would all be females. Awesome. I think Backstreet Boys was a big missed opportunity this year specifically because they've had a banner year and they've just exploded with them being at Vegas, which that's a sore subject for me because We only live 6 hours from Vegas, and I have not been able to acquire tickets or the time to go. And I don't think I'm going to get to. But No Doubt's coming this year during CrimeCon. I think they're going to be playing, so I might try to go a day early and go see No Doubt at the Sphere. But I mean, No Doubt would be great. Like all of that. That's the performance I would like to see. Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, join me and Ben again here next week when we recap another episode of
Unsolved Mysteries.
Bye.